When you use AutoCAD all day, every day, like I do, you find that you have certain commands or certain ways to use commands in a very specific way for your needs. Well, you can do that in AutoCAD. It's called creating a command, and it's actually pretty easy. You're not really making a brand new command in AutoCAD, but what you're really doing is creating a command macro that will execute AutoCAD commands in very specific ways. Now, this way, a command button is created. So you're really just making a button that starts an AutoCAD command and then automatically fills in some of the blanks for you. Maybe there's some specific settings that you want to use and that you use them often. And so this will help you to save a few picks and clicks throughout your day. Well, that's what you want to do. And that's one of the reasons why AutoCAD is so great. Now, that button that you make will be available for you to use in the ribbon, in your quick access toolbar, in a tool palette, or anywhere that a command button can be applied. So let's make a command that will draw a polyline that is an arc. So if I wanted to do that myself, I'd have to start the P-line command or the polyline command, press enter, pick a start point, and then click on the arc option or type in A. And now I can draw an arc. So it's really not that big of a deal to have to type in the letter A and press enter. But if it's something that you do often, let's say you do it 50 times a day, that takes an extra second or maybe 2 seconds for you to do. Or worse, maybe you meant to start with the arc option for the polyline command, but you forgot. And so you started drawing, you have to stop and go back. That could take up 5 to 10 seconds of your time. So if you stop this, 50 to 100 to 200 times a day, you can save that amount of clicks, that amount of seconds. That time can add up. So that's when it's worth doing something, is when you do it 100 some times a day so that you can save a few minutes here and there. That time adds up. So let's make a command that will draw a polyline and it will start it off as an arc. Now to do that, you just type in CUI and press enter. That stands for the Command User Interface. It'll bring up a window. You can move it around. You can resize it. If you have a second screen, you can drag it over to your second screen. This works just like a regular AutoCAD dialog box. So what you want to do is move over here to the left. So we have two columns here in the CUI. We have what's on the left, the customization tools that we have. This is what we have to work with. And on the right, we'll show you the properties of those items that you select. So if I pick one of my workspaces, it gives me a quick display of the information there. If I come down here in the bottom left, that's the commands. So if I click on one of these, it gives me a bit of information about the command. The icon used, some descriptions, the name, and the actual command itself. Now, one thing about commands is that you want to look at the macro. Every command button in AutoCAD, all these guys up here, all these little buttons, that's a command macro button, has a certain set of keystrokes that are automatically executed. And that's right here in this macro option. Now, there's some coding in here. See this _C underscore UCS space underscore 3. Well, this is the 3-point command. It creates a new user coordinate system. So you can see the command here, UCS, user coordinate system, and then you're putting in the 3. Well, each of these things stands for something. The caret or the up arrow, then capital C, is the equivalent of pressing the escape key. So you'll notice that all of the commands start with _C. So it's like hitting escape twice. That makes sure that if you're inside another command, that command gets canceled out and you can start the new command without any issues. So you're going to want to start that every time in your macro. Now, this space that's right here, if I highlight it for you, it's here on the right in between the UCS and then the underscore 3. Pressing the space is just like pressing your space bar. So if you have your space bar set up to be an enter key, you can do that. Now, another way to use the return key is to make sure you don't use the space as a space is the semicolon. There's also a backslash that you can use to pause for user input. You can also turn ortho on or off, or the O snaps on or off. It'll toggle it to whatever the current setting is. It'll go the opposite. So if it's on, it'll turn it off. That's a caret O, which turns ortho off or on. And then a caret S turns your O snaps off or on. And for commands like the UCS command here, you want to start them with an underscore. There are a lot of others, but I don't want to overwhelm you with what we have to do for the macros. So let's make our own. So what we're going to do is come here. You can click on these different arrows to get to different places. Now this one with a little star with a little asterisk on the top right is to create a new command. So left click on that. So here's your command information right over here. This is your icon. You can use any of the icons available to you, or you can just create your own. I'm just going to find one in here that kind of looks like what I might want it to look like. I'm going to pick that one. It puts the images right here, and you can export these if you want. You can edit the image a little bit and customize that in like Windows Paint if you like, or if you want to make a picture of me for your command, you can do that too. So here is our command name. We want to give it a name, not command one, something that is going to make sense. In this case, I'm going to call it Polyline Arc. You can give it a description, which is probably a really good idea because that way people will know what it is. And that's also in the description. When you do a mouse over the command, that's what's going to pop up. So that'll really help you know what your command is, and other people too, if they happen to use it. So this will start the Polyline command in ARC mode. And if you write a help file, you can add that here. A command display name, I usually make that match the command name itself. Okay, so now for the macro, luckily for us, it starts it off with the escape option here. So what we need to do is escape underscore for our command, type in PLINE, and then the semicolon, because you need to type in the command and press enter. So essentially when you're making your macro, think about what you have to type in to execute the command. So I hit escape, and then polyline or P-line, and then I hit enter when I'm typing it in on the keyboard. And then I need user input. So that's where I want to tell AutoCAD what to put in. I need user input because on the Polyline command, the first option is to pick a starting point. So you have to wait for the user to pick the point where you want that arc to start from. Now here's where we're going to save time. We do slash for the pause for the user input. Once the user makes that input, that's picking that point, I want to tell it to go into arc mode. So I hit A and semicolon, and that's going to be our command. So let's review what we have. We have caret with the C's. That command will clear out anything else that might be running. You always want to do this. The underscore P line starts the Polyline command. The semicolon hits the enter key for us. The slash pauses so you can pick the starting point. And then A types in the A for arc command. The semicolon presses enter so we can continue on. So when you're done, click apply. You'll see it'll run in the background. And now we have our command. It's called Polyline Arc. Now you can search for your command just by scrolling around through here if you want, or you can type it in and you can find your command. So when you have it right here. Well, I'm going to customize this by putting it into our quick access toolbar. And to do that, you just grab the command, left click, hold that down, and drop it in. Now that I've done that, I'm going to click apply and then click OK. And then when I'm ready, I can just click my button, click my start point, and you'll see here, I'm drawing my polyline in arc mode. So that's a real quick time saver. For some reason, it's not loading my picture correctly. That's okay for this demonstration. If you see this type of error, it's a little cloud with a little question mark in it. That means AutoCAD can't find the icon. Typically, you don't have that trouble when you use AutoCAD's icon, but in this instance, I am for some reason. But you see when I hover over it, it gives me information, tells me the command Polyline Arc, and it says starts the Polyline command in arc mode. Now we entered all that in. Now this is probably one of the ways I customize AutoCAD the most, besides moving around my palettes and the way my screen looks and things like that, because I find this to be very useful. You can take this command once you've created it, you can put it in a palette, you can put it in a toolbar, you can put it anywhere in your ribbon, you can even put it in the quick access toolbar as I've done here. So that's the basic ways on how to create a command in AutoCAD.